science behind food, metabolism, and longevity, and how to use it to live better, longer, and stronger life. Today's episode is about one of the simplest and most powerful levers we have to prevent disease. It's controlling blood sugar and ditching the ultra processed food. If you take one thing away from this episode, it's this: frequent blood sugar spikes and the engineered foods that cause them are silently driving nearly every chronic disease we see today, from type 2 diabetes to heart disease to cognitive decline. And the fix? It's beautifully simple. Eat real food, reduce your glucose spikes, and use smart metabolic tools like ketogenic eating or intermittent fasting when appropriate. So let's dive into the science of why this matters so much, why blood sugar control matters. Because the modern grocery aisles are full of what I call Frankenfoods, right? These are the ultra processed, hyper engineered products designed to keep you eating more. They spike your blood sugar fast. They keep your insulin high. And over time, that constant roller coaster does real damage. Sugar slows your metabolism down and it increases your hunger hormone. You're hungrier, you're gaining weight, you can't burn the fat, and your metabolism is slower. So it totally screws you up. And then it produces these like specific kinds of fat cells in your belly called adipocytes, which are producing adipocytokines, which are inflammatory compounds. So you're basically having a fire in your belly, spewing out all this inflammation throughout your body. It lowers your hormones. For males, their testosterone drops way down, their sex drive and sexual function goes down. For women, we get all types of hormone dysregulation. It affects our brains. You get increased cortisol and adrenaline with sugar, and cortisol causes literally shrinkage of your hippocampus, which is the memory center. So it's just bad news. Elevated glucose doesn't just affect your waistline, it drives oxidative stress, it damages your blood vessels, it increases inflammation, lowers testosterone levels in men and women, and sets the stage for heart disease, dementia, and metabolic dysfunction. And here's the kicker: you don't need to have diabetes for this to be happening. Even mild post-meal spikes, repeated day after day, create a chronic low-grade stress environment inside your body. So let's talk about the research. Ultra-processed foods are wrecking brain and metabolic health. A massive share of what's in the supermarket is designed to hit your brain's reward centers and make you crave more. A cohort study published in JAMA Network have linked high intake of ultra processed foods to faster cognitive decline and increased dementia risk. These foods aren't just low in nutrients, they actively dysregulate your metabolism. When your meals constantly spike glucose and insulin, the brain and body lose their ability to respond properly. That's when inflammation, weight gain, and insulin resistance start taking over. So, high blood sugar drives disease even without diabetes. Research in the Journal of the American Heart Association and PubMed Central shows that that both fasting hypoglycemia and post-meal glucose surges directly increase cardiovascular risk. Now, my father died of a heart attack, so I'm consciously aware of this. And I can't tell you, I love sugar if I don't change my ways, right? So if I stop eating sugar for at least a month, my taste buds change to savory. And especially during the Halloween time, and there's all this candy everywhere, and oh, there's Reese's peanut butter cups or there's Snickers. all of that stuff is ultra processed, high fructose corn syrup, which is inflammatory. There's so much junk in all this stuff. You can make it at home. You can make peanut butter cups at home, and they're fabulous. And you can use all kinds of great ingredients. Check out my website at larsonhealthweightloss.com, and you can find amazing recipes to make a keto style peanut butter cup that'll be so delicious and you will love it. Allulose is a great sweetener that you can use, or allulose with monk fruit extract. It doesn't spike your glucose levels. And then you get to enjoy some sweet snacks that are not going to damage your body. So these swings in the sugar levels and the glucose levels create oxidative stress and vascular damage. And the same underlying mechanisms that fuel heart attacks, strokes, and even some cancers. So lowering your glucose variability, not just your fasting glucose, it's a huge win for protecting long-term health. So keto style or keto, I'm having a brain cramp for what it's called, but it's when you're actually getting some more vegetables. So instead of doing like a 50 grams of carbs, you're doing more like a 70 grams of carbs, and that all comes from your vegetables. So keto and fasting as metabolic reset tools, I'm going to talk about that. So they actually help reverse this pattern of glucose spikes and insulin resistance and more. So keto style, you go on, you go off, you go on, you go off, but you basically are eating protein, vegetables, and fruit because fruit has fiber in it. I typically will only eat berries. I sometimes have a banana, but I can tell you that it really does help to not have a lot of sugar, especially if you were having a lot of belly fat, because that is just driving more inflammation throughout your body. And it takes time to get rid of that. So you need to be patient and work on it for several months to actually bring down the inflammation. And just eating protein, vegetables, berries, get some keto, get some good fellas for your body, like some kefir, you can use that, or 100% Greek yogurt, unsweetened Greek yogurt. Get inorganic if you can. These things will help with your ketobiotic and helping you get to a healthier place. So let's talk about what actually helps reverse that pattern of the glucose spikes. A well-formulated ketogenic diet or periods of fasting can reset your metabolism, and you can do both at the same time. They lower circulating insulin, they increase fat burning, and raise ketone levels, which your brain loves as an alternative level. Now, I hear a lot of people are doing all these shots, and that's a quick fix, but I can tell you that it eats away the muscle in your body, and muscles are the longevity master for your life. So if you're lifting weights, you need to lift weights. Your bones start to decrease, women, as we get older because we don't have the muscle strength. Jump training is really important. I thought like we didn't need jump training. It was really bad for our knees, but in fact, it actually helps our bones. So make sure that you're lifting some weights, even if you just start with a soup can. Start there. Look for stuff that's aftermarket weights. They're all over the place that you can find somebody's weights. During COVID, people bought a bunch of weights. Now they're not using them anymore. So you can find all kinds of weights out there for a really low price. So insulin increases your fat burning and raises the ketones, which your brain loves. And clinical trials have shown that improvements in HbA1c, your fasting insulin, your triglycerides, and even cognitive scores in people with mild cognitive impairment when ketones are present. So it's early but exciting science. These tools help restore metabolic flexibility, your body's ability to switch between glucose and fat for fuel. So let's talk about exogenous ketones. This is a big thing that people are talking about. And is it helpful? Maybe, but it's not a magic bullet. So you've probably seen ketone drinks or powders claiming to boost your brain power. But here's the truth. They can raise ketone levels quickly and may have benefits for cognitive or athletic performance, but the results are mixed. They're not a replacement for doing the real work, changing your diet and lifestyle. Think of them as an experimental add on, not a foundation. So, keto plus resistance training muscle gain is possible. So, one of the biggest misconceptions is that you can't build or maintain muscle on a ketogenic diet. But the research from PubMed and Biomed Central shows that when protein intake is sufficient and resistance training is part of the plan, lean mass can be preserved and sometimes even increased. The key is getting enough protein and giving your body time to adapt to using fat and ketones efficiently. So I can tell you that typically what I start off with is I'll start off with a half a cup of cottage cheese and a half a cup of plain Greek yogurt. I'll put in some frozen berries that will melt over time before I have my breakfast around 10 or 11, and I'll put in a half an avocado for some healthy fat. I'll put in some chia seeds, which really, once you start drinking water, it just fills up your belly. And all of this, what that causes, and then I also put a protein mix in. I put in some some Himalayan tartary buckwheat, which shows that it has a lot of food for your stomach, feeds the good guys in your stomach. So I'll put that in my breakfast. It's a big breakfast, but I typically don't eat dinner. I don't eat again until like 3 or 4 o'clock, and that's my dinner. And so I get 2 meals a day. I could tell you what this week I had was we had some grilled chicken tenders and we had some zucchini that we grilled. And so I had that, or I had some salad left over from book club. I used that instead. I had made some organic apples, and we had we made a we made a gluten-free crust with almond flour and grass-fed butter and pasture raised eggs. And it was a delicious little, I had a tiny little piece, and it was made with allulose with monk fruit. And so it didn't spike my sugar levels. And it was just a nice little dessert to have after my lunch dinner at 3 or 4 o'clock. At like 3:30, 4 o'clock is when I was having it. And so I had the chicken and I had the salad and I had, or the zucchini the day before, and whatever's in season. So we just got some butternut squash, and we'll make some butternut squash soup. It doesn't have any sugar. It actually has all awesome ingredients. So if you guys want to see it, the recipe's on my website at larsonhealthweightloss.com. So the practical plan that I want to share with you is what you can do tomorrow. Let's bring it home with actionable steps, okay? Audit your groceries. If it has a long ingredient list, then with seed oils and added sugars, emulsifiers, or natural flavors, it's probably engineered, not real food. Aim for foods without labels, like vegetables, fatty fish like salmon, sardines, eggs, avocados, nuts, extra virgin olive oil, and quality meats like grass-fed meats, or pasture raised. Pasture raised is ideal, but when it's winter time, they're not going to be eating out in the fields. So make sure that it's grass-fed and grass-finished meats or pasture raised, so that they can have the quality. And this meat will be a little bit tougher. I can tell you that it's a little bit tougher. It has a little bit more chew to it, but it's so much better for you. And because you're chewing like that, that actually makes you feel fuller, because it signals to your brain that you actually are fuller because you've chewed so much to eat your food. And lower your refined carbs and added sugar first. So cut your sugary drinks, cut your sweets, cut your white flour snacks like donuts and cakes and Wonder Bread, or whatever white bread you're getting that's at the grocery store. Replace them with high fiber carbs like non-starchy vegetables, some legumes like lentils, and minimal whole grains. So minimally whole grains might be you know, minimal beans, minimal quinoa, minimal black rice or wild rice. And then try time restricted eating. an abbreviation for that is TRE, time restricted eating, and eat within an 8 to 12-hour window, right? So I'll eat at like 10 a.m. and then I stop eating, or maybe 10 or 10:30, 11, and then I stop eating around 3 or 4, maybe 5 o'clock. So that's a really short window of eating. And then I don't eat again until the next day. And it's a simple way to reduce insulin exposure and improve your metabolic health without cutting calories. All these Ozempics out there and these shots, and people want the quick fix. I mean, I see people who are just bones. They're just bones and they have no muscle because these things eat away at your muscle. They do help you lose weight. So if you want to lose 40 pounds or whatever, but as soon as you come off of it, they have not taught you how to eat properly so that you gain all that weight back. So you need to learn how to eat properly to feed your own GLP-1. Your body naturally has GLP-1s. If you give your body protein, high fiber of high fiber fruits and vegetables like berries, bell peppers, zucchini, spinach sauteed, anything that you can think of that you like in a vegetable, have that, okay? Because vegetables are so good. Cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, there's just so many good things. So reduce your insulin exposure and improve your metabolic health without counting calories. I never count calories. I just eat between this window, and I can tell you that I'm not eating a ton of calories because I'm eating within a short window. And it's a simple way to just reduce the insulin exposure and improve your metabolic health. So consider a ketogenic phase if appropriate. So, meaning if you're insulin resistant or struggling with metabolic syndrome, a ketogenic reset can be incredibly effective, especially under guidance and if your insurance provides it regular lab work. So reach out to me if you want to learn more on how to take advantage of this. Again, visit my website, larsonhealthweightloss.com, for free resources, and we're working on a low cost community where you can ask me questions live and we talk about subjects you want to know most. So, and again, there's free resources on there, but I'm going to offer this low cost community where you could ask me questions and we can help you thrive. So, and then move daily, go for walks, do some planks, do some sit-ups, you could just do body weight. You can do some cats and cows, which are yoga move. You can do all kinds of different exercises out there. Look at YouTube. YouTube has all kinds of exercises. Check out my YouTube at the Coach Kim Larson. I mean, I have a bunch of workouts in there. I have my podcasts in there. You can find all kinds of great resources. And again, it's all free. So move daily, get out there and walk your dog, get out there, walk your cat, walk with your neighbors, walk with a friend, walk with your loved one. Just go out for a walk, go for a hike, do whatever you can to just keep moving. And your muscle is your metabolic engine. It helps stabilize your blood sugar, and it keeps you resilient as you age. I mean, think about so many people that are walking with a walker or walking with a cane. If you're not lifting weights, you can't like lift the box up to the top of the shelf, or you can't carry your groceries, right? Because it's too heavy. So then all of a sudden you start getting delivery done because you you're not walking to the grocery store, you're not walking through the grocery store, you're not doing any of these items. So you're not getting the exercise that you need. So please get out there and walk. Get out there, do your sit-ups, do your planks, do some bicep curls, do some squats. Squats are an amazing thing for your legs. Your legs are your biggest muscles, right? Just do some squats. And don't forget the basics about sleep and stress, right? So poor sleep and chronic stress elevate glucose and they blunt your insulin sensitivity. So metabolic hygiene isn't just food, it's also your lifestyle. And make sure that you're getting out there and also being with friends, right? So you need to have a social atmosphere as well. This really helps I mean, think about people who are in the blue zones, right? So you see Sardinia, and these people are climbing up and down hills, but they have lots of family, and they are herding their animals, and they're gardening, and they're getting their food from their gardens. So do what you can to go to a community garden, get your vegetables there. Get moving, walk over to your community. Don't take the bus or drive over there. Walk. Keep it within a mile, but get walking. Start from here to the lamppost if that's how bad it is for you. And then go to the next lamppost and just keep going from there. So, realistic expectations and cautions I want to warn you about. So, now you might hear bold claims like you can prevent 80% of chronic disease with diet. That's an inspiring idea, and it's largely true for many people, but let's be honest, genetics, environment, and other factors also matter. So, yes, improving your metabolic health dramatically reduces risk, but it's not an absolute guarantee. Also, fasting and keto aren't for everyone. You shouldn't do it if you're pregnant and on certain medications, or if you have an eating disorder history. These all need professional supervision. So, I want to talk a little bit about ultra processed foods that aren't just empty calories, right? They're engineered to spike glucose, they raise your insulin and rewire your appetite. And those constant spikes, they're what slowly lead to metabolic dysfunction, inflammation, and chronic disease. The solution isn't complicated, it's just countercultural. Eat real food, manage your blood sugar, use fasting or ketogenic tools strategically, move, sleep, and repeat. Right? Don't stop over at the fast food for breakfast. Plan ahead. Plan ahead. Go grocery shopping on the weekend. Go on Friday night after work. It's amazing how few people are there on a Friday after work. So if you can go grocery shopping on a Friday, you have all the groceries that you need. You get up on Saturday, you can start prepping some of the food. You can come watch my podcast at 10 a.m., learn more. Go to larsonhealthweightloss.com and get some fabulous recipes that are so delicious, and make some of those recipes. I have glass. Do not microwave in plastic, please. Plastic, when you microwave in plastic, it puts all those plastic particles into your food, which then you ingest. They're finding plastic in your brain and your bones, all over in your bloodstream. And this is so toxic. It causes so much inflammation. Make sure that you get glass containers, or heat up in an iron skillet so that you get the beneficial iron from it. Just heat it up there. Microwaves are just depleting all the nutrients out of it. If you can, use a toaster oven to heat up your food, or like I said, cook it with an iron skillet and just heat it up. It does not take long. It's probably 5 minutes to do it. But once you've done all your cooking, like we made a bunch of chicken tenders, and then we made some chicken thighs with the skin and bone. Then we made a bunch of green beans, and we made some zucchini. We'll make some butternut squash soup because my husband's parents are coming up today with his sister. And so we want to make sure that we have some food if they want to come by and enjoy the food. So you just need to make sure that you are planning around your week. So I have started a new job, and I'm working Monday through Friday, 7:45 to 4:15. I bring my breakfast, and again, it has frozen berries in there, and I don't want to be crunching on frozen berries. So I put it aside, and I make it at around I might make it the night before, or I'll make it in the morning. It doesn't take long to make it. I have these frozen berries in the fridge that we had gotten from the summer. We got some frozen blueberries, raspberries, organic blackberries, and we just put them right into some Cleanomic bags. They're not plastic bags. They're just made with vegetables and whole foods. And we'll put it in those and we'll freeze them, and I'll just pop them into my bowl along with my cottage cheese and my Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt, and maybe I'll put some kefir in there because once I put my protein powder in and the chia seeds and maybe a little PB Fit organic peanut butter protein powder, it can get a little dry. So I put a little kefir and it'll help make it more moisture. And then the avocados in there, and it's just so good. Now sometimes I'm in a little rush in the morning, and I have my husband get up earlier so he can help me make my breakfast. But it really does help to make it the night before. So I get home from work and I'll clean my dishes from the lunches that I had at work, and then I'll make my breakfast. I'll put it in the fridge along with my lunch for the next day, and then I will just grab it in the morning, put an ice block in my cooler, take it with me, and then I throw it in the fridge at work. And it's just an amazing way if you plan ahead. So you're not going to the McDonald's or the Burger King or the Wendy's or whatever, the Culver's, whatever it is out there. All of this stuff is the highly processed Frankenfoods. And you would be amazed to see all the garbage and the inflammation that's going into your body when you eat canned foods that are highly processed canned foods. I go to the grocery store and I will buy the frozen vegetables that are there. I do try to buy organic as much as possible, but sometimes it's just not available. So I'll buy organic broccoli florets, and I'll buy green beans, and I'll buy Brussels sprouts, and I'll buy, and I buy those right from the grocery store, and I clean them up myself again on the weekends. I'll roast up some Brussels sprouts with maybe some maple syrup because it has a lot of, and this is real maple syrup, not the Aunt Jemima stuff. Okay. Real maple syrup, and maybe I'll put some salt and pepper, some black garlic salt that we have, and I'll put that all over, and that salt and pepper and the maple syrup is just a nice flavor difference, and I'll roast that in the oven, and oh my gosh, it is just so good to have. So just some ideas of delicious meals that you can make. And the reason why I do gluten free is because I get arthritis if I eat whole wheat or just bread. Now I have found that if I occasionally eat a fermented bread, then I don't have the inflammation in my knees or my neck or my elbows or my hands, my feet, my ankles. I just don't have the inflammation. So it could work for you. A lot of people might need to eat a low inflammatory, anti-inflammatory diet, which is very similar to a ketogenic diet, or a Mediterranean diet that is anti-inflammatory. So just make sure that you're paying attention to what you're consuming. Don't buy the dozen donuts, because I could tell you that at work, our manager bought the donuts. I would cut a donut in half, and I had a half a donut. If it's there, I love it. So I just don't have it at home. I try to avoid it as much as possible. Somebody bought Reese's peanut butter cups and the little pumpkins, and I was like, "Oh my God, I love that stuff." But I'm trying to avoid it, right? Just eat your foods, and it'll fill you up, and you won't need to have that stuff. And if you do have one after you've eaten your meal. Get your vegetables first. It'll coat your stomach, and then have your protein. Or if it's all mixed together, that's fine. But it'll help coat your stomach first. So that way, when you have your dessert, if you've seen the Glucose Goddess, she talks about this. And then it helps coat your stomach so that when you have the sugar bomb, it doesn't kill your system and cause a lot of inflammation. So if you want to protect your brain, your heart, and your future selves, make sure that you are eating an anti-inflammatory diet. Make sure that you are eating proper foods such as vegetables and proteins. If you can't afford the organic or the grass-fed, just eat protein and vegetables and berries. Even if you don't get organic, just wash your fruits and vegetables. Um, Make sure that you're getting the whole foods, because it will help lower your inflammation more than if you're just buying processed foods. So if today's episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who's still stuck in that low-fat, high-carb trap. And if you want more deep dives like this one, combining nutrition, science, real-world tools, and functional health, subscribe wherever you listen and check out larsonhealthweightloss.com for blog posts, recipes, coaching resources. I'm Kim Larson, and thanks for listening. And I'll see you next time on the Larson Health Podcast.